One person who likes my Facebook page says that he's never voted for a Republican before, although he's going to vote for me. My response to him is, gosh, I'm not your typical Republican. There are issues where I may not agree with Republicans. I've certainly been a long-time champion of energy conservation, which is not a typical Republican issue. I've been endorsed by the Montana Cannabis Industry Association, probably the only Republican in Montana who's been endorsed by that. I have some very grave concerns about the death penalty, which I can explain. But there are a number of reasons why people look at Gary Marbut and say, he is not your typical Republican. So those people who vote strictly on party lines need to think about who I am and what I can bring to them as their representative for House District 99. I do have a history of active involvement in the energy conservation world. I built a home that is still a model of residential energy conservation, still state-of-the-art. I was appointed by Democrat Governor Ted Schwinden to his Governor's Advisory Council on residential energy conservation. I've had bills before the legislature to try and remove roadblocks to distributed generation of green power. I devised a process to use biomass conversion to electricity to help clean up our forests and use the power grid as a transport mechanism to get this low-value material to market. That would be a very green way, with no environmental impact, no pollution, way to produce green power and clean up our forests at the same time, and most important, provide jobs for the people of Montana. I can tell you why the Montana Cannabis Industry Association endorsed me. It's because I've been very public about my anger at federal authorities and how they treated the medical marijuana providers in Montana. In March of 2011, federal agencies raided a whole bunch of medical marijuana providers in Montana. And understand that an initiative had been passed to create a law in Montana to make what they were doing perfectly legal under Montana law. They had been told, the nation had been told by U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder that the U.S. Department of Justice would not be raiding medical marijuana participants in states that have medical marijuana laws. The people of Montana authorized the use of marijuana for medicinal purposes. Yet despite that, the federal government came in and overruled the will of the people of Montana and began arresting and prosecuting and incarcerating those people who were doing what was legal under state law. In doing that, the federal government said, look, you're on our reservation, you're going to follow our rules. I don't like that. You shouldn't like that either. The reason why I'm concerned about the death penalty are not the reasons usually given for opposing the death penalty. However, there's a problem philosophically with the death penalty that I can't get around. As individuals, we do not have the authority to take human life in vengeance or as retribution or as deterrent. And because we do not have the moral authority to take life for those reasons as individuals, we do not have that power to give to government. And government should only have those powers that we as individuals surrender to government to do things for us in common. So since we don't have that power to give to government, that is to take life for reasons of vengeance or deterrence or whatever, then we don't have it to give to government, and I don't like government exercising powers it cannot legitimately have. That is a very slippery slope, and I don't like what happens at the bottom of that slope. You shouldn't either. Those are just a few reasons why you may wish to vote for me, even if you've never voted for a Republican before.